I don't know if y'all saw my Facebook status, but literally forgot how old I was today and had to go ask my mother. It's like, I know that 26 is in the mix, but I didn't know if I was 25 going to be 26 or if I was 26 and going to be 27.
Wow.
No,
I'm begging.
I did that as well, but my numbers were a little bit higher than yours.
Yeah. I'm begging you, Serina. Walk outside once in a while.
Hi, I'm Monica Szaflik.
Hi, I'm Rachael Proulx.
I'm Serina Johnston.
I'm Daniel Houle.
And I am Andrew Pond. And welcome to whatever the hell this is. Did any of you have any kind of audio drama or voiceover experience before you started working on this show?
Oh, well, I actually have a minor in it. It's part of my degree.
Ooh. Oh my gosh. I'm learning new things.
I had no, so am I. I had no idea. So you have a minor in voiceover?
Yeah. One of my voiceover professors who convinced me to do the minor because I had been doing it as an elective, and she's like, we have a minor too. I love her. We are friends on Facebook, and like she sends me all this stuff. I don't know if you guys know what EmiLab is. She's been the voice of EmiLab for like 20 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
No, I do not. Who is it?
Deb Dotzer? Yeah, she's amazing. I love her.
Then yes. I did a little bit of work. I was at the conservatory at Act One, which so sad that they're not around anymore. Fantastic people, and just love them. And got signed by a couple places and was immediately sent out to do voiceover auditions and other auditions. So, they put me in a class. Oh my gosh, and how I wish I could remember his name. Isn't that terrible? A really great voiceover teacher, and I can't remember his name.
You can't remember your age, so really.
Oh, yeah. I'm good.
That unprecedented time.
It's all good. But I can say, like, Anne Jacques was one of our teachers, and Joanne, who sadly passed away, and had to leave our class early because, she had to go to Broadway.
Oh,
if you have to.
Well.
Right? As you do.
Right. So, I'm sure his name will come to me later, and I'll go blah, blah, blah.
So years ago, before I even knew this was like a thing or a genre in like acting, and like took for granted all those commercials where people that aren't moving their lips are like having stuff said. My brother went to Columbia College, and he has a degree, I think, in television and radio production. So
okay.
He had a lot of he was working on a lot of local radio stations and like origination programming and cable and all that jazz. So he always had a local radio station, and I mean local. Like if you left the driveway, you probably couldn't hear it. But back before someone else took over the rights to Jack FM, we were Jack FM, and it was like through the local high school, and I was the commercial announcer person, like, don't touch that dial, and like then he'd let me start writing my own commercials, and so it's like Jack FM now with new utility belt, stuff like that. So that was fun, and I loved being in the studio and didn't think anything of it and went about my merry life for years. And then there was a big break until through puppeteering there was an opportunity where I was supposed to do some live puppeteering shows where they wanted us to introduce a cartoon segment of the actual puppets when we were like, remember what happened last year? Like, and it was like a lot of flashbacks.
Mm-hmm.
So we got into an actual studio and recorded all the cartoons. And that's when I got bit with the bug.
Oh, I remember his name, you guys. Tom Taylorson.
Before we started this insanity, I had been a commercial voiceover artist for going on probably 10 years. I officially started about 15 years ago when I got my first demo reel done by oh God, who did it now? It's been so long. It's been so long. I can't remember who did my demo.
I'm so glad I'm not alone.
It was Kate McClan. Oh, Sound Advice. That's who it was. So I studied with Kate McClanahan over at Sound Advice. Did my first demo and started auditioning right away for video games. And then when I was, I left the business for a while. Some years later, came back, got represented by Lily's Talent, and started with their VO department and started just doing a lot of commercial auditions, booked a couple of jobs here and there. Eventually left Lily's and went to Great Talents, and have since booked some really decent gigs. Currently, I am the voice of First Midwest Bank for their radio and TV campaigns.
Cool.
Yeah, there are two voices for their campaigns, me and a woman. I'm obviously not the woman.
Oh, Dan. I'm so impressed.
You've got range.
Well, I mean, if the woman was Elaine Stritch,
right,
that would work.
As far as narrative work, I've done a little bit with a couple other companies, audio drama stuff. Not necessarily serial like this, but just like or not as serial, like more long form, like not as repetitive.
Right. Cool.
Stories are longer rather than like, a 40-minute serial.
So
Awesome.
Andrew, how did you get into this crazy voiceover world?
Literally by writing an audio drama. But I believe, and I can't 100% remember, but I believe that I had just started doing audiobooks prior to us starting this project. Right. So I had a little bit of experience as far as recording and doing voice work through audiobooks. And fortunately, the genre I usually do, which is sci-fi fantasy, requires a lot of different accents and voices, so that was helpful. But no, I had never done any kind of audio drama, serial stuff like that until Sarah and Katie and I came up with this idea to do a live radio show, and I went, "Oh, how hard could it be? Let's do it."
How hard could it be?
It's terrifying the number of things that I've done in my life that have started with the question, "How hard could it be?" One of them was theater company.
How hard could it be?
No, it was. I mean, prior to this, I would say that my biggest experience was just in doing a lot of voices for my own edification. So I think this might be actually a good moment. Is this project has gone through a number of different iterations, because Dan and Monica, I know for sure you two worked on it when we were actually doing this as a live radio program.
Yes.
That we were actually doing this on a radio
and
station.
And Rachael too.
And Rachael, you worked on it as a radio show
I did.
too?
Yeah, she was in studio with us.
Oh, right. That's right, because that was all of season 1. That's right. And then Serina, you came in after we had switched it over to being a podcast. Am I right?
Yes. And I've threatened to quit this podcast at least 3 times every episode, but I'm still here.
So, okay. For those of you who worked on it in both aspects, talk about the difference between doing it as the radio versus the podcast. Like, was there something about it being a radio show that you liked better than being a podcast, or vice versa?
So this is an everyone but Serena question.
This is an everyone but Serena.
I kind of feel like they're night and day difference for me. There's and they're both alluring. Like they both have their charm. Like I kind of loved that the radio show was live, and it felt almost like that energy you get from live theater, where like anything could happen, and you roll with the punches, and like you just have to you feed off each other's energy, and it's just all these people holding hands and jumping off a bridge together. And with the podcast, it's nice because it's so chill. It just like feels like we're just hanging out in the living room, and it's like, oh right, there were microphones. It's like we weren't just making impersonations of random characters. Like that's actually a story now that people can listen to anywhere. So I also love how like everyone, like my friends in Florida, are like listening to my podcast now. So that's really just nice because it's just universal,
Yeah, they're definitely different. I feel like the podcast just gives us more flexibility for more people to hear it. And I mean, live was fun. It was fun to be like, the equivalent of a clown car. How many people can we fit in a room and on how many mics?
Oh man, that studio was so
right? And it just goes to show that we like each other.
Monica, I have to say, I like how you're like, well, now with the podcast, it's like we're just hanging out in a living room. I'm like, that's because that's exactly what we're doing.
Pretty much.
It's true.
I only speak the truth.
Pretty much.
So true.
I like the electricity of the live shows. Like I long for the days when we can do them live again. It's not that I don't like recording in the apartment and recording in the living room and recording all together like that. It is its own fun. You know what I mean? It is its own challenges and whatnot. I love the electricity of live. I love that. Like what Monica was saying about how anything can happen. We're all jumping off the bridge together. You know what I mean? Like we're gonna push the rock down the hill.
Falling asleep in the front row.
Right, but we're gonna push the rock off the cliff and chase it downhill. You know what I mean? Like there's something to that. So I long for the days when we can record live again in front of an audience.
I gotta say the few times that we've done the podcast in front of an audience has been an absolute blast. And the one episode that we recorded, the Hanukkah's Hootenanny, it's such a different feel when you've got that, when you can hear that live audience. I am looking forward to being able to do more live episode recordings.
Yeah, it's nice to have other people laughing at us other than us laughing at each other.
Up to this point, since we have now done 2 full seasons of this insanity, what's your favorite part or character that you've done, or just thing that has happened?
So my favorite thing that has happened is Noelle going to fucking space. That one recording. I just looked up and she was gone. It was so funny.
I'll elucidate a little bit since no one was there. You mean when something I don't remember what it was that got said, because it wasn't even her line.
She was reading ahead.
She was reading ahead in the script, which is never a good idea. And at some point we all just looked up, and she had stepped from the room we record in into an adjacent room so that she could lose it over what was about to be said and not get in the way of the recording. But of course we all looked up, noticed she was gone, and broke into laughter anyway.
I have to be a little selfish and say, well, it was my first time working with you guys. When that episode where I got to play Rachael and Esther, I was only responding to my friend Kelly Lavander. She put on Facebook, she's like, hey, I need someone who could do a German accent to cover for someone for an episode of this thing. And I'm like, voiceover stuff, cool. So I didn't know that this was potentially a long-term thing. And I
Is that the butterscotch being unwrapped right now? What's happening?
Yeah.
Making dinner.
Uh-oh. No,
well, since no one else is taking up, I'm assuming it's Dan. No?
Sorry, Monica.
Oh, no,
So-
you're fine. I don't know. Whatever it is,
No,
it's good. It
go
sounds
ahead.
like a Doritos bag.
There you go. Probably Serina.
It's not me.
Well, I don't know
We
who it
have
is
someone
then.
else on the line. The call's coming
No!
inside the house.
Anyway, so we needed somebody who could be German.
Yes, and Kelly and I had done Anne Frank together at least once, maybe twice, and so because I actually, you know, people for so long you forget how you meet them.
Yeah.
She actually messaged me right after. I'm like, hey, I'm free, and she's like, do you have a German accent? I'm like, we met when I was playing me. She's like, oh right. So yeah, I mean, I never get to play like, you know, the action hero, the like spy, the like bad girl. So that was very exciting when I got the script. And then I got to be even badder when I found out in rehearsal that I was also reading for Esther.
Oh, Esther.
Yeah, Andrew likes to spring those things on you.
I just remember when we recorded that episode at the radio studio, Monica. The when we were doing the Esther stuff between Esther and the Shade, I just remember you throwing these looks at me across the microphone that I was like, I'm done. I can't actually look at you while we do this. But I mean, this is Esther was the first character that we were like, we need to bring this character back and turn them into something significantly more involved. So you did a beautiful job of that.
Yeah, my family was able to listen in, and like my brother, like one was was listening on the radio, one was listening on the stream. So that was fun because
Right.
yeah, like they were like, when's more of this? So like I'm like, we're sitting at gold.
There you go. Rachael.
I love the ad-libbing and things that happen. It's so fun to just get to play and to get to be. I was just pulling up one of the season 2 scripts. I'm like, how many people did I get to be in one episode? And I'm counting 3 men and 2 women, 1 young woman and 1 old woman. Throw those in there. That is a blast.
Yeah. Rachael, I love the ad-libbing, and at this point, a lot of times, I like if I'm writing Rosa, I don't even work that hard at writing Rosa. I'm like, there's a couple of things I want to make sure Rosa says, but honestly, I don't even care. She's just gonna come up with funnier shit than me. I mean, I think one of my favorite examples of that though is like when we just read the very first episode of season 3, and she walks in and it's like, I want to introduce Miss Rosa Honeysuckle, and I wrote hello, and you rocked is like Miss Rosa Honeysuckle. I was saying, and I'm like, I should have thought of that, but I'm like, the nice thing is, I don't have to.
I like her so much.
Mm-hmm.
Oh
Ew,
man,
I'm a big fan.
It's one of those characters. Your Rosa Honeysuckle is with you is very much like Pork Sword Tally with Chase. If I can't have you in that episode, I'm writing Rosa out of it. That happened. That happened. The very last episode of season 2. You were there was a scene with the mayor hiding in his wardrobe, hiding from reporters, and it was going to be a scene with Rosa and the mayor, and then you weren't available for that last episode, and so I just pulled the whole thing and I rewrote it and I put Nathan Sniveling into it.
Oh, they like me.
One of the most enjoyable moments I had as an actor was when we were recording in the at the radio station, and I believe it was I forget who was casting at the time, had called me up and said, "Oh, can you do this character as well?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." And I just said yes. I was already scheduled to play, I believe, the mayor.
No. It was Horace. It was I
Right.
remember. It was,
And Mayor, right?
Horace
And Brother Fig Jam, right? So it was like, so it was. The Fig Jam was the first one. She was like, "Oh, do you have an English accent?" I was like, "Yeah." She's like, "Oh, do you want to pick this up as well?" And I was like, "Sure." Not even looking at the script, not even reading anything, just like, "Yeah, sure, I'll pick up another character." Come to find out, those two characters had a two-hander scene that was like 6 pages long. So I'm going from a highbrow London accent that is all up here to, I tell you, like, oh, the schizophrenic dreams I had that night were fantastic.
and it's beautiful. I think what's beautiful about that is that only people who are listening.
Well, we have a recording of it, but yeah.
That. Yes, we do. But when we went back and turned it into the podcast, I made sure that those two characters were not. And
I thank you for that, because that scene like nearly killed me. Like literally, it was 6 pages. It was like, oh my god.
I gotta say, I think my favorite part of this whole thing is having pulled together this group and watching how this is all transformed from the first time we pulled one of these together to where it is now, and seeing how this has become a very tight-knit group where I can throw things out there and trust that, you know, I'm going to get great feedback from the people who are involved in it, and be able to. I love the fact that now I feel like I'm fighting for all of you.
Oh,
that's the thing. Yeah. Oh, if only. But I do. I like the fact that now I know how all of these sound, and I also know I'm like, okay, if I throw this new character in here, I know who I can throw that to, or I can try somebody on this, and I know that it's all going to work. I love is that we do have a wide range of ages on this. We are a relatively diverse group of people, and yet all of this, everybody works so well on this material, and this material fits you all really, really well. I'm constantly heartened by the fact that I can throw this stuff at a group of very different people who are very different from me, and have it work, and have people look at this and go, I want to be a part of this. And I think that that's been the best thing for me, is that this can reach as many people as it does and have that kind of effect. I'm really heartened by how well that I've been able to keep y'all around for 3 seasons.
well, the jury's still out for me.
Well, that's true. I'm telling you what, I'm really going to be interested to see what happens on the 9th when we read episode 3 of the 3rd season, where that Kaylee wrote, and when you run into those buttons, if you're still going to say the same thing.
Kaylee and I were already talking about it, and I was like, I'm going to give her a pass, because she's just trying to emulate you. I'm still mad. She's matching your style, so I'm still technically mad at you.
I'm sorry. Perfect. I want to thank all of you for coming on and doing this, and I'm looking forward to when we can get back to recording new episodes, and I'm hoping that we're going to be able to do that sooner rather than later.
Same.
So, thank you, everybody, and have a great rest of your night.
Thank you, Andrew.
You too.
Bye,
Bye.
everybody.
Hello, this is Andrew Pond. Thank you for listening to Throwing Shade. As we prepare for Season 3, we'd like to thank everyone who has listened, downloaded, or donated to our podcast. If you haven't already, become a patron at patreon.com/EFCT. Rehearsal videos, outtakes, buttons, bumper stickers, t-shirts, and even the opportunity to be a character in an upcoming episode are just some of the rewards we offer. So do your part to keep the economy chugging along and become a patron today. And keep an ear out for more special episodes leading up to Season 3.